let's go ahead and discuss the next part of this, the one that you've probably seen the most headlines about. We'll start with Trump's statement, quote, let's put this up there on the screen, please. In his deposition with the New York Attorney General's office focusing on fraud surrounding his businesses, he released his full statement, quote, I once asked, if you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Now I know the answer to that question. When your family, your company, and all the people in your orbit have become the targets of an unfounded, politically motivated witch hunt supported by lawyers, prosecutors, and the fake news media, you have no choice. If there's any question in my mind, the raid of my home on Monday by the FBI 2 days prior to my deposition wiped out uncertainty. I have no choice because the current administration and many prosecutors in this country have lost all moral and ethical bounds of decency. Accordingly, under the advice of my counsel and for all of the above reasons, I decline to answer the questions under the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution. This is in relation, let's go ahead and put the next one up there, please, which is that the president says that he took the Fifth nearly 400 times in that New York civil investigation. That investigation has been running now for months, if not years, and into specifically his business dealings. So we have seen essentially it revolves around whether he inflated the value of assets whenever he was in the sales process, which I'm just going to say
would never do that, Saagar.
I don't have difficulty believing it. As to whether it's true or not, I simply have no idea. They issued a number of subpoenas to many members of the Trump organization themselves. And a lot of this actually stems from before Trump was even president. It's a retroactive view into the Trump organization and how it conducted itself in business. As I said, he sat for nearly a 4-hour deposition. The only answer that he actually gave definitively was when they asked him his name. From that point forward, he pleaded the Fifth nearly 400 times throughout the entire discussion. So if I had to guess, some of that video will be released by the New York Attorney General's office. As to the furtherance of that investigation, I literally have no idea. We don't have a lot of information. We know at the Manhattan district level, there was all that drama where the top prosecutor actually left under pressure because he was like, they kept wanting me to charge Trump and I wasn't going to do it. So that's a different investigation.
That was a criminal investigation. Yeah. This is a civil investigation. Right. Now, it is possible that, Attorney General Letitia James and her team turns up something that is significant enough that the criminal investigation gets new legs, which hasn't technically been closed. But to your point, the criminal probe had seemed like it was progressing. And they say it stalled after a new district attorney, Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, took office in January. A grand jury that had been hearing evidence disbanded. Top prosecutor had been handling the probe resigned after Bragg raised questions internally about the viability of the case. So they sort of, decided it looks like they decided they didn't have enough to move forward with charging him. But, again, it's possible that this gets new legs with the civil inquiry. Just to give you one of the details about the alleged inflation of the assets, which, again, I don't know what the legal standard is. I'm sure it has to be willful. I'm sure it has to be fraud. I'm sure it has to, there's a standard that they would have to meet here, although the civil standard is likely less than the criminal standard. They say Trump's company, exaggerated the size of Trump's Manhattan penthouse as one example, saying it was nearly 3 times its actual size, a difference in value of about $200 million. So pretty blatant on that one. Pretty blatant. Not just sort of like, let's round up instead of down kind of stuff. Like, let's just multiply by 3 the actual size. We'll see what comes of that ultimately. It is funny. What did you think of his statement? Because it's interesting because he knew people were going to pull up those old comments.
Yeah, there's a lot of clips
of him being like, I don't know why you plead the Fifth if you're
exactly
innocent.
What he said. He's like, if you're innocent, you don't plead. Something about the mob. This was a 2016 thing.
And I think he has taken the Fifth in the past, but he usually sort of relishes going in and sparring with, in the deposition.
It was a dumb comment when he made it. It's a dumb one now that I've seen. Remember Daniel Goldman? He was the prosecutor in the impeachment trial on the Democrats' behalf. He's running for Congress now. He's a lawyer from the Department of Justice formerly, and he's like, you don't plead the Fifth unless you're in it. I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, there's a reason it's there.
As part of this is one of the most important things that we have in terms of your ability to protect yourself from the state and coerce confession and all of that. It's one of the bedrocks of the judicial system the ability for an American citizen to have to not incriminate themselves, under questioning like this, that the government would have to have a standard of proof much higher than that in order to convict you. So it's incredibly dumb when Trump says it, and it's dumb when these resistance liberals, who are criminal lawyers who should know better, are saying it too. We should not gaslight millions of people into thinking that, oh, when you plead the fifth, that means that you're automatically
absolutely
guilty. Not.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's correct. But I thought from a political perspective, it was kind of interesting that he anticipated
that's true.
that he was going to be, hit with that. It's almost like the closest that Trump ever comes to admitting that he was wrong or that he changed his mind or whatever. I mean, normally his MO is just to ignore whatever the contradictory past statement is and just keep like plowing ahead in the future. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, he's very immune to hypocrisy. He's a man who's hypocritical literally all the time. So it's kind of shocking.
He doesn't really care
why
usually.
He would actually acknowledge it. But
yeah,
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
I just took note of it. I thought it felt a little different than the normal Trump statement.
Absolutely agree.
Anyway, that's kind of the big level picture of where things stand. I think still very murky picture. I think, I just really want to disabuse people of the idea that there is this, super coordinated grand plot that, the FBI raid was the first step of. It does not appear that that is the case. Again, that doesn't mean there won't be indictments or, something in the future. But I think what initially, especially with these other pieces coming all in the same week, seemed like, the walls are closing in and Merrick Garland is the puppet master and sort of slotting him into the role of Mueller. I don't think that's actually the picture that we have of this week as it comes to a close.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.